What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Israel Adesanya sends a warning to UFC roster. After his shocking defeat to Sean Strickland last year, Israel Adesanya indicated that he planned to take some time off before jumping back into the swing of things. After shutting down talk of a multi-year hiatus, there's been much talk about who the former champion could fight next. While speaking on a recent episode of comedian Theo Von's This Past Weekend podcast, the last stylebender spoke about his return and his desire to add to his highlight reel.
But there's still more that I want to do for myself.
You know,
I haven't mastered the game yet. I'm still learning every day. Even right now, we're working again on my jab because I'm changing it up now because there's so much footage on me. People can watch, the smart coaches, and they can kind of game plan. My jab was vicious. It still is, but I'm just bringing it back. I'm tuning it up again. So it's constant evolution, constant learning every time. And with my grappling as well, I want to show it off.
Oh, wow.
It's the belts and all that. It's more about highlights.
Yeah.
For me, I'm a highlight guy.
As Dracus du Plessis has indicated since winning the belt, he wants his first title fight to be against Adesanya, preferably in South Africa. While the UFC has yet to announce anything regarding the fight or when they plan to have du Plessis return to action, it's no secret that a bout and the buildup between these two would certainly produce fireworks. Next up, let's take a look at TKO breaks silence on UFC's billion-dollar lawsuit. Through the discovery phase of the antitrust lawsuit against the UFC, we've seen a number of interesting documents come out shedding light on the promotion's business practices. From things like negotiating tactics to shade thrown at fighters on the roster, the situation has drawn quite a bit of attention from the MMA community. One of the most notable pieces of information that came out indicated that prior to acquiring the UFC, Endeavor already had the two antitrust suits against the UFC on their radar. In a recent call, TKO Chief Financial Officer Andrew Schleimer weighed in ahead of the April 15th trial date, which was relayed by Fighting. As we've already said, and this is our consistent message since we started talking about this case publicly, we believe strongly that the facts and the law are on our side, and we look forward, in terms of timing, to making our arguments to a jury at trial. But as is typical in a case like this, we've been engaged in private mediation simultaneously with our trial preparation. That's what we're prepared to comment on at this time. With things set to kick off on April 15th, it'll be interesting to see how the suit plays out and how it could shake up the landscape of the MMA industry. Next, let's take a look at Dana White provides an update on Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. While it's been made clear that Tom Aspinall isn't going to be getting the next heavyweight title fight and won't be fighting Stipe Miocic in an interim heavyweight fight, there have been questions about whether or not the winner of the upcoming Jones versus Miocic fight will stick around to unify the title against Jones. Although Miocic has indicated that he would be willing to give Aspinall a crack at the title, and Jones has given hints that he and Aspinall could share the octagon, nothing has been finalized regarding the Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic fight, leaving Aspinall hanging in limbo. During a recent interview with Max Crosby, Dana White gave an update regarding the fight, while also making the case for the winner of the fight to stick around to unify the title.
On injuries.
This summer should happen. I think it depends on who wins. I mean, either guy that wins, how do you not fight Aspinall? It's almost like a courtesy, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, if you're looked at as one of the GOATs, you know, whoever wins this fight, it's almost like a courtesy thing to give that guy the shot and, you know, give him an opportunity to win, or you win and it can just absolutely cements.
Amen.
Nobody can poke holes in it. Nobody can say anything about it.
With Aspinall eager to remain active, the expectation is that he will be looking to defend his belt over the summer when the UFC travels to Manchester. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at Paulo Costa reveals next UFC fight. Paulo Costa recently dropped a decision to Robert Whittaker after a lengthy hiatus from the octagon following his UFC 278 victory over Luke Rockhold back in 2022. Although the former title challenger came up short against Whittaker, he's eager to get back to action and return to the win column before the end of the year. Since the loss, Costa has been calling out Kamaru Usman. However, as Ali Abdelaziz indicated, Usman's sights are set on fighting Khamzat Chimaev. During a recent interview with the Schmo, Costa spoke about the situation, reiterating his desire to fight Kamaru Usman.
Bro, I want to bring the best show for the fans, you know, and let's see what Dana White and the UFC think about who gonna be the next one to me. But I think Kamaru would be a nice fight, you know, a great fight for the fans. But let's see. I don't know. I want to fight who UFC wants and who the people wants, you know. And UFC think the same. They want to bring the fight that people want to see, right, Timo? So the fans want.
As Costa indicated, he wants to return to the octagon in May, which doesn't coincide with the timeline given by Abdelaziz regarding Usman's return, which the former welterweight champ is targeting for August or September. Next, let's take a look at Darren Till gets exposed for declining fight. Since parting ways with the UFC, there's been little news regarding Darren Till's next fight. While the former title challenger indicated in the past that he planned to return to the UFC down the line, he has remained inactive. According to BKFC president David Feldman, who spoke with Ariel Helwani on the MMA Hour, the promotion held talks with both Till and Anthony Pettis regarding an April 27th fight with Mike Perry. However, Till declined.
Yeah, I mean, we were in talks with Darren Till.
Wow.
He asked me for a number. I gave him that number, and then he came back and said he wanted to take a boxing match or two first before he wanted to step into the BKFC ring. So we had deep talks with him and his team. Then we talked to Anthony Pettis about stepping up as well, but he's going to do another boxing match first. And then I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Anthony Pettis and Mike Perry later on this year, or even Darren Till and Mike Perry later on this year, but it just wasn't able to happen this fast.
Feldman also spoke about the meeting he had with UFC CEO Dana White, which made headlines. Despite rumors, Feldman indicated that TKO did not make an offer to purchase BKFC. However, another unnamed company did.
No, there's no truth to that. Look, we had great conversation. He was very, very surprised by the amount of shows and the numbers we were doing. And, you know, could be of interest to them. But crazy thing is man, you know, as I'm doing this journey, man, it's like, it's roller coaster, man. You have the best days in the world, and then you have days where you're like, man, forget this. I want to stop. Yesterday was one of those days. This morning I wake up to an unbelievable offer to buy BKFC, and it's we turned it down.
As Feldman did announce, Perry will be fighting UFC veteran Thiago Alves in his next fight at Knucklemania 4. Next, let's take a look at Jorge Masvidal goes off on Chael Sonnen. Since ending his retirement, there's been plenty of talk regarding Jorge Masvidal's future in combat sports. After 4 straight losses inside the octagon, the original BMF indicated that his immediate future will see him compete in boxing. While a bout between Nate Diaz had previously been teased, no official date was given, leading many to question whether the contest would take place. While speaking on the MMA Hour, Masvidal not only called out Diaz, he also took aim at former title challenger Chael Sonnen, who is retired.
I was on Cali for like a couple days, and I was like, you know what? Let me stop by Stockton. I've never been, and I heard the tacos are good over there. Maybe I'll run into Nate and we can make this fight happen. So I was like, yeah, let's go over there. Took the squad over there, and I would love to bust up Chael, but he would never get into the boxing ring with me. They've offered him all types of crazy money. All he could do is like video rants on his cheesy channels, you know. But Chael would be one guy that I would love to break his eye over, just because he's...
As Masvidal indicated, his beef with Sonnen stems from the former title challenger's slew of drug testing failures over the years. Despite the animosity, it sounds as though it's a bout with Nate Diaz that's most likely to take place, given that Sonnen has not competed since 2019. Sean Strickland's DMs got leaked after Jake Paul leaked them on his new podcast, BS with Jake Paul. Jake and Strickland went back and forth talking about sparring each other for $1 million, but Jake is claiming that Sean is backing out of the matchup, claiming that UFC isn't allowing him to do it. Jake went to Strickland's DMs and said, "Can you come this next week? Any day works. We'll send you a plane." Strickland replied saying, "I mute my Twitter, just seen this. What about a real fight? I don't know if I can get the UFC on board, but with their involvement, I think we can make it happen. Conor did it with Mayweather." Jake replied saying, "They'll never let you fight me, but you can try and ask them. I'm here and ready to spar or fight, let me know." Strickland replied, "I'm gonna talk to Hunter about a fight. Man, that is a big paycheck. Let me see what I can do."
But it's a typical story of these UFC guys who call me out and then go quiet. Said, "I'll send you the PJ. Let me know where we could spar for $1 million. Oh, I would get sued by the UFC if I sparred Jake. But you just sparred Sneeko. You could spar anyone. Contractually in your UFC contract, that has nothing to do, says nothing about sparring. I see a very insecure, lost, wannabe like alpha male that's hiding behind the tough man complex. He needs a hug. Mr. Shawnee, I'll put my soft little hands on his little bald head and make him feel the love that his mother or father never gave him. And maybe Patty Pimblett can finally stop running from my spar offer too, and I'll just get all of them, a 2-for-1.
MMA Community furious with UFC for announcement. After Ricky Turcios shot down the recent reports that his fight with Raul Rosas Jr. had been rescheduled for this weekend, the UFC confirmed on Tuesday night that the rescheduled fight would not be taking place as previously mentioned. The situation drew a number of heated reactions from the MMA community, given the number of fights the UFC has announced that have not been finalized as of late. As one fan wrote, Dana announced the fight without the contract signed again. No way. Another fan added, typical UFC announcing fights before they're even official, LOL. One member of the MMA community drew attention to the fact that Rosas is getting over an illness, writing, "What do you expect? Dude was sick enough to not fight, now they expect him to make weight again and compete a week later?" One fan summed things up, writing, "Both did never agree to that plan. UFC often announce stuff that is BS. Wonder if Rosas Jr. is already healthy again. How would UFC even know that on the same night, minutes after he felt ill? But bro, Dana never makes fights on a fight night." One fan theorized, they thought they could force Ricky to cut weight again just to accommodate Meat getting the jitters. Although Ricky does need to fight way more often, I wish he would have agreed, but I get it. Another member of the MMA community pointed out that Dana White may not be too happy with Turcios if he's causing the holdup, writing, "Let's see what happens to Ricky now. I'm glad he didn't just roll over do what Dana says, but if Dana decides to punish him or freeze him out, it'll just prove how shady the UFC is. The fighters need a union." Stay tuned for updates on whether or not the UFC will attempt to rebook the fight. Top comments. Ryan couldn't deal with a body shot. One leg shot would have him fumbling and opening his head, and then, after getting pieced up there, a body kick would end his career. Kick his little sticks. Come on, Sean, you're fighting off toothpicks. Jorge unretired to do competitive eating in Nathan hot dog contest, LOL. I hope the 165-pound division rumor is true. Habib scams for legacy, not for money. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.